Good afternoon, everyone. And for those of you who is going to celebrate Eid tomorrow, just like to say early Eid Mubarak. Okay, so today we are going to discuss about how to create a brand equity. Okay, all right. So if you remember, this is a marketing strategy process we were following from the beginning of the semester. Okay, and we have already discussed about the creating value, some part of the creating value. Okay, in the previous classes we talk about market segmentation, target market selection, and positioning. Okay, all right. So once we start to talk about positioning, we mentioned lightly about brands. Okay, and today we will go deeper into that direction. Okay, just a reminder, that was the STP. Okay, so remember we talk about the STP. Actually, we say the 5C, the STP, the 4P. Right, that's how we understand the strategy process, and then the customer acquisition and retention. That is the sustaining value part. Okay, all right. So just a reminder, we talked about segmentation in the previous class. Okay, it's talking about identify variables that allow one to segment the market. Okay, this is like geographic segmentation by area, demographic segmentation, for example, by gender, by income, and the like. And we have psychographic segmentation. Okay, that's based on lifestyle. Okay, and we try to see a VALT segmentation, values, attitudes, and lifestyle. For example, people who listen to the rock music will have the same psychographic style. Okay, then we talk about the behavior, people's action. All right, so those are the four major segmentation variables we talk about, and then we talk about what we call targeting. Okay, so here we evaluate the attractiveness of a segment. Okay, and choose the target segment. All right, here we will use some of the variables we discussed. Is this one? Okay, for example, how large is the size of the target market? Okay, what is the growth potential? What is the value of that market? Its stability and the like. So these are some of the variables we take into consideration when we measure, before we decide to target a certain market, right? So then we talk about positioning. Okay, when we talk about positioning, we are talking about a concept. Okay, to occupy our customer's mind. Okay, for our target segment. That's a concept for our target segment. Okay, so here we have three major criteria. Okay, or three major considerations. The first one is we call value proposition for a target segment. Okay. And the second one is we say competitive frame of reference. Okay, so when we say value proposition, it means roughly the benefit. Okay, the benefits in terms of the product, in terms of the price, and other components. Okay, what will be the benefit for the customers? Then we say competitive frame of reference. Okay, this is point of parity. All right, so who is our competitors? That is where we talk about. We need to reach parity at some criteria. Okay, and then we talk about point of difference. Okay, so one example we talk about is, for example, the Korean car maker Hyundai. Okay, Hyundai have point of parity in design. Okay, their cars quality design looks very nice when you see them. They are very beautiful, very attractive. So they are parity with other car makers. Okay, but they have one point of difference. For example, they are relatively cheaper than the other cars. Okay, so there is a certain point of difference. So these are the key points we see in positioning. Okay, so now we are extending our discussion in line with this positioning concept. Okay, so then this was, for example, the positioning statement from Apple computers. So this is way back before, Apple started to produce iPhone. Okay, when Apple was producing only computers, and we talk about this was a positioning statement. Okay, actually it's a very good positioning statement. So it says Apple computers offers the best personal computing experience to students, educators, creative professionals, and consumers around the world through its innovative hardware, software, and Internet of Things. Okay, Internet offerings, sorry, Internet offerings. All right, so we have three things. So we have target segment, competitive frame of reference, and point of difference. So what is the target segment here? What do you think the target segment is here? Okay, so students, educators, creative professionals. Okay, all right. So what is the second element? Point of parity or competitive frame of reference, right? So what is the competitive frame of reference? So yes, exactly, that's correct. Computing, personal computing. Okay, so for example, it's very different from IBM at that time. Okay, it's personal computing. Okay, so what's the point of difference? All right, so we have a target segment, frame of reference, point of difference is in here. Okay, so we have this three key elements. Okay, so that is a positioning. So here now we are talking about brand equity, right? So for example, now is Apple is a brand. Okay, Apple is a brand. All right. Okay, so in line with that, today we will extend our discussion with the following objectives. Okay, have about 7 objectives. Probably I will cover the first 4 of them today, and the other 3 will be covered in the next class. All right, so that's Apple. It's here, as you can see, it's think different. So we will stay. We already start to talk about brands now in positioning, and then we will a little bit talk about what's a brand, how does branding work, and we will continue to discuss about what is brand equity, how is brand equity measured, how is brand equity managed, and the brand architecture and the like. Okay, so let's get to it. Okay, so the first one, see, today is a very rainy day. Okay, I will just start to have some warm up. Okay, so go to the Tron class and you will find this discussion thread. Okay, so here you will see Jon Stewart. It's a quote from Jon Stewart. Okay, all right, you guys are aware. No, we are familiar with the company, right? Okay, anyone who is not familiar with the Quaker? Anyone of you? Okay, so everybody is familiar with it. That's good. So let's. So this is what we do. The discussion thread is about this one. Okay, go to the Tron class. You will find the thread for the discussion. All right. So once Jon Stewart was asked, okay, it's a very big company. Okay, he's a co-founder of the Quaker Oats. He's asked, if this business were split up, I would give you the land and bricks and mortar and I would take the brand and trademarks, and I would fare better than you. Okay, so what you need to do is here, you go to the Tron class, and I divide you guys into two groups. Okay, so the first group, group one, I call this one land, bricks, and mortar side, and group two, brand and trademark side. Okay, so the idea is those of you in group one will agree. You do not agree with John. Okay, and those of you in group two agree with John. Is that clear? And based on that, I'll give you a few minutes to go into the thread and comment. So this is the statement, a quote from John Stewart. Okay, so John Stewart is leading a very, co-founder of a big company. Okay, it's multi-million-dollar company. Okay, and one day he say this, okay, statement. So if you are in a group one, you means you don't agree with him because the land, the bricks and the mortars worth, millions of dollars. Okay, this is the tangible asset. You see the building, anything. But John said, I only want to have the trademark and the brands. I prefer that. Okay, so in line with that, some of you need to give a comment in the thread supporting him, others not agree with him. Okay, so you can log into the Tron class. Okay. All right. You see, I agree about the brand and trademark. Right. So I want to know why or why not. Okay. Someone said brands and trademarks have greater value than land. Okay. So this you can see have some comments here. For example, says brands and trademarks have greater value than land. Okay. In average, the recent study shows brands about 25% of the value. Okay. So for bigger markets, they might go more than 50%. But for, in average, the value of the brand is about 25%. The other 75% is related to the physical asset. Okay, so yes. So Aji, yes, did you hear what I said? Okay, that's not always true. Okay, so Rizuta, she said, I agree with John's statement. I already study on accounting, so that I agree because intangible assets like brands, trademarks are even more valuable than tangible assets. Okay, brands and trademarks provide business with unique identity. All right, good. So brands say something unique, right? Brands say that is related to the point of difference. All right, very good. They can also build trust and loyalty for customers. Yes. Okay, that's why you see, for example, sometimes iPhone buyers, they camp overnight, outside. All right, Rizuta, excellent. That's very good. Very good. Okay, let's see one argument about land is better. Which one of you say land is better? Okay, Okay, is this Mohammed Akbar? Okay, all right. So yes, Mohammed. Yeah, I have no idea what did you write. I don't read Bahasa, so you could translate that in English and send it back again. All right. All of you need to write one comment. That's a must. It's part of your class activity assessment for today. So okay, so Alvin says, in my opinion, I agree with land brick and mortar is more beneficial because we can make the same quality of odds. And so if you remove the name of the odds, do you think people still would buy your product? Oh, okay, not that. So you think you can still use. So okay, so you need to build the brand, for a long time. It takes you some time to build, but you can build it. All right. Yes, Calvin. Well, in this case, a lot of companies make oats. Okay, there might be certain kind of patents pending. Okay, we don't know that how the patents work. We don't want to go into that. Let's assume they can make oats. Okay, because another companies also make oats. All right, but they cannot say it's a Quaker oats. Okay. All right. Good. Very well. Keep going. You can keep the discussion later, some of you, but I need to see at least one from each of you. All right? Okay. So let's come back. Time is over. Let's come back. So one of the best or the shortest and the nicest definition of marketing I know is this one. Okay, marketing is equivalent to creating a strong brand. Okay, and it's the most difficult, one of the most difficult things to do in marketing. All right, so let's go back and define what a brand is. Okay, so for example, the American Marketing Association define a brand like this. Okay, brand can be a name, okay, like Apple or Nike or whatever company or a term, okay, or a sign or a symbol, okay, or design or a combination of them. Okay? So mostly a combination of this them intended to identify the goods or service of one seller or a group of sellers and to differentiate them from those of competitors. Okay, so it can be any of this. Okay, of course, there are something called we call brand elements. Okay, we will talk about them later. Okay, so here, for example, why brands are very important is because consumers relate to brands the same way they relate to other people. Okay, for example, the same way they relate to their family members. Okay, so it gives them an identity. And actually, when we talk about brands, we use those words, right? Say, I love this brand or I hate this brand, whatever it is. Okay, all right. For example, this is two brands, right? Apple and Samsung. They both satisfy the same need. Okay, So how many of you here are, favor Apple than Samsung? Show me your hand. How many of you favor Apple? Okay. How many of you favor Samsung? Okay. So most of you here favor Apple product. Okay. But if you think about it, they both satisfy the same needs. Okay. They both satisfy the same need, but the way you relate with Apple is very different from the way you relate with Samsung if you are really, for example, Apple product customer. All right. So this is, for example, one research insight. Okay, because we say, in the previous slide, we relate with brands the way we relate to other people. So it's emotional. Okay. So, for example, this professor, okay, Professor Platt, he's a neuroscience, marketing, and psychology professor. Okay, he conducted a study on the brains of iPhone and Samsung Galaxy users. Okay, so what they do is they use MRI machine to measure brain activity. Okay, so here they don't ask anything; they just measure your brain activity. Okay, using the MRI. So what they will do is, as a participants here, for example, good news about Apple or neutral news about Apple, and good news, bad news, neutral news about Samsung Galaxy. Okay, and then they measure their brain activity. Okay, so what do you think is the result? Is that clear first? Is the setting clear? Yes. Okay, just use MRI machines to scan their brain. So what do you think will be the result? For example, when people hear good news about Apple and they are Apple fans, how you think their reaction will be? So happiness. How about if they hear a bad news about Apple and they are Apple customers? They choose not to hear it. Okay, they choose, but they are listening it. So we're just only they are measuring only their brain activity. Okay, so their brain activity will show what? Happiness or sadness or what? Denial. Okay. All right. So how about if someone is a Galaxy, Samsung Galaxy user, and they hear a good news about Samsung Galaxy? What do you think will be their reaction? The same with Apple. They will show happiness. Okay. So how about if you are, let's say, a Samsung Galaxy customer and you hear a bad news about Apple? Sure. Happy? If you hear bad news about Apple, you can see your brain activities will be happy. So, so how about if you are a Samsung Galaxy user and you hear a bad news about a good news about Apple? You will feel you will be neutral to negative. Okay, all right, that's good. So let me, you can go find the research and read it later. It's interesting, but just I summarize some of the things in one slide. Okay, so this one you can see that's the result. So yeah, I'll just give you a moment to look at it. Okay, so Those Apple customers, they show similar. For example, if you hear good news about your family members, your brain will be happier. If you feel sad, you feel unhappy. So Apple customers show that kind of behavior. Okay, whenever they see whatever they see. So that's why Apple have a very, a lot of fans. Okay, a few years ago when a new Apple is come out, people used to camp, in front of Apple stores all over the world. Sometimes they camp more than 1 day to get the first products. Okay, so there is a very strong brand association between Apple and its customers. So that's why they are very, very loyal. Okay, how about for the Samsung customers? The Samsung customers' brain does not show anything. Okay, all right. Probably, Samsung have a lot of, product series, right? You have the Note, the Galaxy, the A, the J, blah blah. There are a lot of, and there are a lot of A's. But some iPhone is not like that. Okay, iPhones come out, very few of them. Okay, all right. But for your surprise, the only time the Samsung Galaxy customers, their mind show happiness kind of trend is when they hear a bad news about Apple. Okay, so why they buy Samsung Galaxy is because they hate Apple, mainly. Okay, all right. So it's really true. We feel about brands as the way we feel about other people. Okay, so the connection is not only material; it's emotional. Okay, that's why some brands have very much higher value. Okay, for example, previously I said for some companies the value of the brand, if you remove all the the bricks and mortars and everything, will be more than 50%. For some, it's much lower, but for average, it's about 20% and the like. Okay. All right. Anybody have a question here? Okay. So that's why we say marketing is equivalent to building a strong brand. So once you have a strong brand, and customers feel like you are, they're part of their identity. Okay, so that's why Nike is always what's Nike's logo? Okay, what they say? Just do it. Okay, so you just a minute. Okay, so you will never hear about Nike talking about the strength of their shoes or anything like that. Whatever Nike do is they just show you, a great athlete, and then next it says, just do it. Okay, that's it. It's a lifestyle. It's not a commodity. It's not a shoe. All right. Okay. So these are some of the things which say a brand elements. Okay. So the name, the logos or the symbols associated with the brand. Okay. So these are the characters and celebrity endorsement, anything like that. Okay. For example, Stephen Curry is for Under Armour. Okay, anything like that. Those are, the athlete endorsement or the brand ambassadors. Okay, and there is slogans, jingles. All right. So those of you here, the Indonesians, if I ask you, I think you can sing along about the jingle about Indomie, right? Yeah. So is there anyone who don't know about the jingle from Indomie? If you are Indonesian. if you're Indonesian. All of you knows, right? Yeah. So those are part of the brand identity. Okay. So whenever you hear that, you can, because you guys grow up, you used to it, right? So with that, and you can sing. So all of these things are elements of the brand. Okay. All right. The role of a brand is very high. For example, you can see if you talk about recently Elon Musk purchased Twitter. Do you know how much he paid for Twitter? 44 billion. Okay. So it's 44 billion USD. Okay. So that is the value of the brand. Okay. Elon Musk can start the same company from scratch with the same technology or anything like that, and it costs him very low. But he cannot build that brand, and he cannot get those users. Okay, so for example, you can compare the value of. There is another one. Have you ever heard about a company, social media company called Truth Social? Many of you? Okay, there is a company started by the previous American president, Donald Trump. Okay, it's called it. It's because Trump is kicked out of Twitter, right? Last time, okay, Twitter say you cannot post anything, so he start his own company. Okay, so you can go to Truth Social and post if you want. You can join and you can do that, but the value of that brand is almost nothing compared to Twitter. Okay, all right. So this was, for example, one more example, Instagram. Okay, Instagram was, launched in 2010, and after 2 years, Facebook, acquired it for 1 billion. Okay, so now all of you are on Instagram, right? It's you guys say Instagrammable thing. Okay, so the role of a brand is very high and very important. Okay, all right. Here is some role of a brand. So the role of a brand for the consumer and for the company is a little bit different. Okay, so for the consumer, it sets and fulfill expectations. Okay, and it reduces a risk. All right. You guys have a choice of Pulumo. Do you have any choice of shoes? Nike, always, most of the time. Okay. So why Nike? Okay. All right. So the culture behind it. Okay. It's all right. So I personally buy New Balance. Okay. So why I buy New Balance is it just limit my choice. So I just go to the shop. I don't need to look anywhere. Okay. I just find a New Balance stand most of the time, and I just pick one of the New Balance. So most of the time I will not check wherever it's Nike or Adidas, Reebok or anything like that. So it just I use it to narrow my choice. Okay. So you can see I am also, I'm a black guy, right? And in 2000, I don't know, maybe 2017, 18, there was a talk say New Balance is for white peoples only, something like that, right? But I still stick with New Balance. Most of the time I use a New Balance. So this is, it will simplify my decision. That's why I use it. Okay. For Pulumo, Nike just it's fulfill set some of the expectations. All right, and of course it takes a lot of personal meaning for many people. All right, any of you have any specific brand choice? Anybody else? Calvin, do you have any? Oh, really? Okay. How about the ladies? All right. So it will be, it will become part of your identity. All right. Any of you familiar with this motorbike? What is that? So when you hear Harley Davidson, what comes to your mind? Big bikes.
A powerful bikes.
Gentlemen, anything else? Yes. So you think of the gangsters or anything like that, the gangs, okay, like that. Yeah, of course, you can see the bikers. They always go together, and nobody's there on the road. Okay. All right. So you can see these are the Mongols. They are one biker community, and there are different ones. Okay, there are 3 of them are different here. Okay, all of them use Harley Davidson. Okay, but they don't like each other. If you get a tattoo of this Mongol, then you will be in trouble. Okay, they will ask you to remove it. If you don't, then you are in trouble. So these people wait for many years to join one of these clubs. So you have to go. You have to stay, for like a rookie, and cleaning their shoes or carrying their things for many years before they trust you and become a member. Once you become a member, you are part of the family, so they always have your back. Okay, all right. So this Harley Davidson, you have to ride Harley Davidson to join. Okay, so it's just a show of muscularity, a show of power, a show of strength. Okay, anything like that. It's like that. Okay, so those people will never ride anything else except Harley Davidson. All right, so that is the power of the brand. Okay, the power of the brand here, for example. All right, and for the company, the brand can have multiple benefits. Okay, so one of them can be to simplify product handling. Another one can be to organize inventory and accounting. Then it can offer legal protection or create brand loyalty and the like. So we have multiple options. Ask you a simple question, for example. There are 2 brands. Soda. Which one? Coke. Which one? Coke. Coke. Okay, it's not a drinker of soda. But if you never drink any of them, okay, that's very good. Polomo, Coke, Calvin, Pepsi. Okay, we find one. Coke, Coke. So here is only one person says no, 1% says Pepsi. All right. So can I ask you why Coke? Oh, more tasty than Pepsi. Okay. Can you tell me why Coke?
Because I usually drink Coke.
Oh, because you usually drink Coke. Why was that usual habit? Where it come from?
Yeah, I my soda drink. My parents would take Coke, and then I suddenly become Coke.
So just start from your family. When you are kids, they always buy Coke. Okay. I tell you a story. Once, long time ago, there was advertisement by Pepsi. Okay. So what they do is it's true setting. So a guy will sit behind a desk and will cover. You cannot see which one is a drink. Then he have two cups. One is Pepsi, one is Coke. Okay. So then it will be. They are filming it for TV commercial too, and they will ask people to try and ask which one do you like. Okay, it's a blind test. So a lot of people say prefer the Pepsi. Okay. If when you remove that, a lot of people try Pepsi, and Pepsi was showing that on TV. Okay, some of them never tried Pepsi before. Okay, and they say Pepsi. Then they say try a Pepsi challenge. So that was Pepsi was showing that on TV, and Coke was very nervous, rightfully so, right? Also, Coke tried this behind. Okay, they tried and they find out people really prefer the taste of Pepsi. Okay, they tried. So what do you think they will do next? If you are a manager of a Coke and if you find out these things are running on TV and you try, you ask your marketing department or whoever it is, and they try it and they find out if it's a blind test, usually people prefer Pepsi. What you will do now if you are a manager of Coke? What do you think you will do? Like what? Okay.
Then he puts it on the floor. He stands on it to get the entire vending machine to get the Coke.
Okay. But that will not help. That does not address the core point, right? You try to do some advertising to show, people like Coke, right? But Pepsi is, targeting you directly with a test. Calvin, what do you think you will do if you are a manager of Coke? You have to do something. It's a big brand, It has a new flavor. But Calvin said if you add anything else, it's not Coke anymore. Yes. But people prefer the Pepsi, so you have to do something about this now. What do you think you will do? Coke is a rich company. You have to understand. They have a lot of resources. Okay, they can do whatever they want. Not whatever they want, but they can do legally a lot of things. Okay, go ahead. Advertisements. Okay, of course, you Coke and Pepsi always on advertisements, right? All right. So the story goes like this. Okay, Coke become nervous and start to design a new formula. Okay, they spent about 5 years developing it, and they used a lot of customer research. Okay, a lot of tests behind, and all the data shows people love the new product. Okay, so then Coke decided to launch a new product. They call it a new Coke. Okay, so then the new Coke is in the market, and they discontinued the Coke, the classic, the previous one, and they come up with a new product. They say it's better. Sorry. Then what happened is Coke customers become very, very angry. Okay, some of them start to write a letter for the CEOs. Some people is protesting and everything. And they say, you give us Pepsi in a Coke can. Okay. So what do you think happened here? What Coke missed? They spend actually, a lot of money to come up with a new formula. It's not something that they, come up very lightly. So what do you think happened here? Yes.
I think they
But they were nervous because most of their loyal customers who never tasted the Coke before, the Pepsi before, they say, I prefer Pepsi, So they are trying to address the loyal customer base, actually. So what do you think happened here? Fernando, what do you think happened here? What did a company as big as Coke missed here? Right, something is missing. Coke missed something. This is an example we like to use in every marketing class when we talk about branding. Pulomo, what do you think Coke missed here? Yes, Alvin. So there is something is off. Okay. So what happened is actually later, because a lot of people are angry, the company bring back the old Pepsi and they call it a Pepsi Classic, and they bring back that was the only solution they have. They have to scrap the new product and bring the previous one. Okay, that's how they do. All right, I'll give you a 10 minutes break. I want you to think about this, while you are walking around for your break, and you need to tell me some answer after that. Okay. All right. So those of you who are online, could you anyone want to tell me? Yes, Gabi, you prefer Coke?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so you are following the story, right?
Yes, I'm following the story because I saw them in YouTube, just a clips.
Yes, yes. You can also see the clips on YouTube. So what do you think happened here? What did Coke missed here?
So I think that Coke needs to improve their quality so they could compete to the Pepsi's taste, I think.
Yeah, that's what they try to do, and that's what the customers don't like. So this is one of the ad. Okay, here you go.
You're about to take the Pepsi challenge. I have 2 bottles of cola back here, and you don't know which is which. No.
Just a minute.
You're about to take the Pepsi challenge. I have 2 bottles of cola back here, and you don't know which is which.
No, I don't.
We have never met before.
That's correct.
Right. Okay. Except at my sister's wedding. But beside that, we have never met. Okay. Now I'm going to pick this up and tell me which one you chose.
Pepsi!
In tests like these nationwide, more people prefer to taste the Pepsi over Coca-Cola.
Pepsi's much better.
It's delicious. It's down nice and smooth. The taste is good.
That's great. Take the Pepsi challenge. Let your taste decide. Right, guys? Right!
Okay, guys, let's continue. All right. So the key point here is Coke only just consider the taste, okay, but they forget the emotional attachment of customers with the Coke. Okay, so most of us, including me, when we are little, we grow up drinking Coke. Okay, whenever we get a little bit of money, we will try to buy and drink Coke. So it's part of our identity, drinking Coke. How I see my family serve Coke, right, when they have a guest, unless otherwise, the shop does not have a Coke, they will not serve Pepsi. Okay, so that's emotional attachment. Okay, like I said before, because customers try to see the brands as they see another people. So Pepsi try to just use Coke here, just consider the tasty taste perspective and forget the emotional attachment. Of course, later what they do is they bring the original flavor, okay, and call it Coke Classic. All right. Any question or any comment you have here? Any comment or any question? Okay. All right. So now let's do one more activity. But before that, just a couple of slides. Let's talk about that. Here, the scope of branding. It's all about creating a difference, okay, between products. All right. So the class today, we call it brand equity. Okay. So the brand equity is defined like that. It is the added value introduced to the products with consumers. Okay. So this means at that time, Coke have more brand equity than Pepsi. Okay, and among, for example, the students in this class, Coke have higher brand equity than Pepsi. Okay, so the brand equity is added value introduced to the product with consumers. Okay, so this one can be reflected in the way consumers think or feel, like the emotional attachment of the customers with Coke, and act with respect to the brand, as well as the price, market share, profitability, and the like. Okay, so you can just call it added value because of the brand name. That's why, for example, Apple is able to charge premium price, or that's why you guys pay, much higher for Nike shoes or any branded shoes than the other ones. Okay, guys, any of you here like to cook pasta? Or any of you use pasta? Are you familiar with this sauce? All right. So these are three spaghetti sauce. You can see the price is very different. Okay. The size is the same. The price is very different. So why do you think this happened? Okay, one is 2, one is more than 4. The other is 2.29. Okay, so the ragu spaghetti sauce was able to generate twice the price of that. Okay, that's the value of branding. Okay, that's the brand equity. All right. So remember, the decision is not driven by the price alone here. Okay, but it is moderated by the sum of your expectation with the brand. Okay, This is what enables some brands to charge premium while others cannot. Okay, so that is brand equity. Okay, so this is some of the advantage of strong brand or having higher brand equity. All right, so it improves the perception of product performance. Okay, so these are the key points I was expecting at the beginning of the class for those of you who were, supporting John Stuart. We say the brand, right? Because that's, greater loyalty. It's less vulnerability to competitors. Okay, we will be less vulnerable to market crisis, larger margins, and the other ones you can see in your screen. Okay, so having a strong brand have multiple advantages. Okay, that's why you say it's equity or added value. All right, so now let's go back to log into the Tron class again, and you can find some activity. Okay, it's this one. So we are talking about components of a brand. Okay, so we are still continuing with Coke. Okay, so what we do here is okay, so this is just a definition of a strong brand. That's what we talk about. Carries a lot of meaning and can provide value in the marketplace, right? This value is obtained through different things, for example, awareness or consumer preference or likability or loyalty, some of the things which I talked about in the previous slide. Okay, so here you have a list of brand statements about the brand. Okay, for example, it says, about Coke. Okay, so someone says it also comes in cherry and vanilla flavor, or it makes me fit with others. It's refreshing. So what you try to do is this statement, and this is the components of a brand. You need to match them. That clear? Okay, so you can find this in the Tron class. So the first task is to very simple. For example, you tell me which one is like that. Okay, match the two, and there are two more discussion questions here. The first one is which of the brand components do you think is most valuable? Okay, from these ones, which one do you think is most valuable from A to H? You choose which one is most valuable in delivering long-term profitability for the brand. Okay, and the second one is which components are at most risk of attack by competitors. Okay, like for example, which one can be attacked by Pepsi or any other soda brand from this one? So I want to know why. Just don't only give me like for example, Coke have high awareness, anything like that. That is I want to know why you choose that. Okay, so we have these two discussion questions. All right, is that clear? Okay, guys, the instructions are very clear. Okay, good. Yeah, you can ask me if you have any questions. I will be very happy to answer. Okay, let's go ahead and talk about it. Okay, so the first question is related to components of a brand value, right? Okay, so these are the answers. the first one. Okay, it's also came in cherry and vanilla flavors. So yeah, how many of you get all of them correct? Okay, compare your answers, please. Compare your answers with mine. You can present the counter argument. That's definitely possible. Okay. How many of you are matched with 6? 6. Okay. 6 out of 8. Which two are 2 and 7? Okay. So all right. So it makes me fit with others, right? That's 7. Okay. So the brand personality is the brand personality itself. Okay. All right. Okay. All right. So the brand personality, for example, there is something called, we call it brand mantra. Okay. For example, McDonald's. Fun, family, and food is their brand mantra. Okay. So the personality of the brand itself here. Okay. So it's so do you understand why you make a mistake here? It's about the personality of the brand here. All right. So Fernando, how many of them you got 5? Which 3 you make? Number 2. So what did you choose for number 2? You choose has a clear benefits. Okay. Okay. All right. So these are some of the things we call a brand components, and an example for it. This is you have to think Coke when you answer these questions. Okay. This is specific for a Coke. So the first one says it comes in cherry and vanilla flavors. So this is has known product variations. Okay. The second one is talking about it makes me fit with others. Okay. So that's a social benefit, of course. Okay. Then it's refreshing. Right. It has a very clear benefit here. I buy it 3 times every week. That's loyalty, right? And it's very well known. Of course, this is awareness. Okay. And it's a soft drink in a red can. This is have something unique, known. It's not unique, but it's known. Okay. And it's fun, social, and lively. It's a personality of the brand. Okay. It asks. I ask it for it when I am in a restaurant rather than Pepsi. It's preferred by consumers. All right. So these are the brand components. So what is your answer for question number 1? Which one most valuable for long-term profitability? Which one do you choose the first one? Which one? Loyal. Okay. Ensures customer loyalty. Anything else? Yes. E has the brand personality, benefit. Okay, all right. So that's exactly right. That's for long term. The most significant impact is it ensures customer loyalty. Okay, so this delivers ongoing and stable sales and profit. Okay, it also ensures that market shares are maintained and there is a competitive barrier. Okay, so that one is the first, and this one is the other dimension. Is preferred by consumers. Okay, so this will deliver strong ongoing market share and sales. Okay, and of course it's also preferred by consumers, means it also weakens the ability of the competitors to win, right? So it's because you ask for it in a restaurant. Okay, so this two is the components for long-term profitability of the brand. All right, any question here? Okay, all right, so these ones are then if you think about some impact, you have a clear benefit. It have high brand awareness. Okay, it doesn't mean you have high brand awareness. Does not mean people will buy you. Okay, it means they know you. But the top one is I ask for it in a restaurant. Okay, so that is the two have some. The ones as a supporting that supports the positioning and differentiation of the brand are these ones. Okay, so all of them are important, but some of them are very more important for the long-term profit. Okay, then the question. The second question was which brand components are at most risk of attack by competitors? So you saw what happened in the Pepsi challenge, right? This was what Pepsi was attacking in the Pepsi challenge. Okay, try it, and I like it. And if you see the ad, you know they say, okay. So this is a key challenge in winning market share. All right. So this is
Take the Pepsi challenge. You know, I have 2 bottles of cola back here, and you don't know which is which.
No, I don't.
We have never met before.
That's correct.
Wait, okay. Except at my sister's wedding, you know. But beside that, we've never met. Okay, now I'm going to pick this up and tell me which one you chose.
Pepsi!
You know,
Okay,
in tests
so
like
these are
these
the kind of
nationwide,
TV
more
ads
people
they were
preferred to taste the Pepsi over Coca-Cola.
running on
Pepsi's
TV.
much better.
It's
At
delicious.
that
It's
time.
down nice and smooth. The taste is good.
It's great. Take the Pepsi challenge. Let your
Okay, so it just they travel all around the country and doing this thing. All right. So consumer preference and consumer loyalty are the top. Okay. So these competitors will seek to attack the components that will allow them to join or win the market share. Okay. So these two are the top one. All right. Okay. Any question here? Any question? Okay. So when you answer this question specifically, if you should be thinking of Coke. Okay. On all the components are for the Coke and the like. All right. Okay. Very good. So I have a homework for you. Okay. When you go home, what you do is this is the most valuable brands in the world. Okay. This is top 10 brands in 2050. Okay. And top 10 brands in 2021. Okay. And in the lecture slide, you will find the top 10 brands very early on. Here is 2014. Okay. 2014, 15, and 21. Okay. 2014, Coke was number 3 after Apple, Google. So what company you didn't see here, which came up? Which came up in here? That was the other one, 2014, and this is 15. Okay, Tencent. Okay, so where is Coke here? So it was 3, right? It become 8 next year. Okay, now it's 2021 was 16. Okay, so Apple, Google, Amazon. So you can see how the Chinese tech companies came up. All right, in 2021, maybe some of they go out because of their government is doing something, some kind of reform or whatever it is. You can go and check. This is Kantar. It's a marketing research firm, and this is called Brand Z. Okay, so what I want you to do is answer these 5 questions. Okay. Later, that will be your homework. So 2014, 15, and 21. Then try to check, for example, the first question, say most professional brand valuation firms consider the impact of brand's contribution to overall profitability to measure brand equity, rather than that softer emotional metrics like likability. Okay, the question here is, do you agree with this profit-focused approach? So those of you who are, taking Jon Stewart's position, either in 1 or 2, now you can also think about that. Okay. All right. So, any question here? So that will be your homework. Okay. Today we are talking about brand equity. Next week, I am expecting your project progress about the Shark Tank. Okay. So today, you need to send me which episode of the Shark Tank is you chose. Is that clear? Okay. I want to the maximum of 3 to 4 groups, students per group, and I want to know which episodes you choose by today. Okay. So send me this in the line group. Clear? Okay. It will become first come, first served basis. So for example, if you say, you choose a certain episode and somebody else want to also like it, so the first one who send me the title and the link will be given the chance. And I need to make sure you chose the right episode. Okay. All right. So whatever you do is very clear here. Your presentation or the analysis should be based on these 4 criteria. Okay. What I want to see is for that episode, you explain what is the value proposition of that company, what is the target consumer, how they get to know their consumer, what their competitors are, and crucially, how they stay ahead of competitors. Okay. So you may consider illustrating this with a relevant video clipping or other materials. So totally you have 12 minutes fixed for the presentation. So if you want to show a clip, you can only show very, something 1 minute or 30-second clips, very short ones. Okay, let's say you can have 2 1-minute video clips from the original episode, if that can be possible. Okay, I will give this one the B strong emphasis. Okay, so you cannot just present it as it is. The first one is the analysis, right? And the second one is I want you modify that value proposition in the context of your own country. Okay, let's say if you are from Taiwan, then that Shark Tank is it's for US audience, or that product is for US customers, of course, not for all US customers, for certain target segment in US. Then I would like to know how it fits with this the Taiwanese segment. The same if it's for Indonesia, or if you are from South Africa, anything like that. I want to know how it fits. So I will give this B more emphasis when I evaluate your presentation. Okay. Right. So so you modify your value proposition for your own country context, then propose and evaluate several alternative actions designed to tackle issues, and then make recommendations. Okay. What is the original thing has a problem? Then like that. Okay. All right. Right? Is that clear? Any question? Okay, then that's all for today.